Marry me. I looked up from my hospital charts to find Marco DeLuca standing in the doctor's lounge doorway, holding a small velvet box. Again. This was day 17. No, I said, returning to my notes. And you can't keep showing up at my workplace. I'm a surgeon, Marco. I need to focus. Which is why I'm here during your break. See? I'm learning your schedule. Being considerate. He moved closer, and I caught the familiar scent of his cologne. Expensive, subtle, completely him. Elena, I'm serious. Marry me. Marco, we've been dating 4 months. 4. That's not enough time to decide to spend your life with someone. It's enough time for me. I knew after 4 weeks. I've just been patient. He set the ring box on the table beside my coffee. But Elena, I'm done being patient. I want you as my wife. I want to wake up to you every morning. Want to build a life together. Want everything. So I'm asking, marry me. And I'm saying no. For the 17th time, I stood grabbing my charts. Marco, you're wonderful, truly. But I'm not ready for marriage. I'm 29. My career is just taking off. And I've seen too many relationships fail to rush into something this big. Relationships fail when people don't try. When they give up. I don't give up, Elena. Ever. Especially not on you. His dark eyes held mine. Intense. Certain. Absolutely sure. So I'll ask again tomorrow. And the day after. And every day until you say yes. That's insane. That's commitment. There's a difference. He picked up the ring box, slipping it back into his jacket pocket. See you tomorrow, Dr. Russo. Same time, same question. Marco. But he was already gone, leaving me standing in the lounge with my heart racing and my mind spinning. This had started 3 weeks ago. We'd been dating for 3 months at that point. Dinners, museums, long conversations that lasted until dawn. Marco was everything I'd told myself I didn't want. Intense, possessive, from a world I didn't understand. His import business was clearly a front for something less legal, though he'd never explicitly confirmed it. But God, I'd fallen for him anyway. For his intelligence, his dry humor, the way he looked at me like I was the most fascinating person in the world, for how he'd memorized my schedule, learned my preferences, showed up with coffee during long shifts, for the way he spoke about family and loyalty and building something that mattered. And then he'd proposed. Out of nowhere, at a restaurant, dropping to one knee in front of everyone like it was the most natural thing in the world. I'd said no. Shocked, overwhelmed, completely unprepared. He'd smiled, actually smiled, and said, "Okay, I'll ask again tomorrow." I'd thought he was joking. He wasn't. Every day since, he'd found me, at the hospital, at my apartment, at the coffee shop I frequented, and asked. Sometimes elaborately, sometimes simply, but always the same question. Marry me. And every day, I said no. Girl, that man is dedicated, Sarah said later in the surgeon's locker room. We just finished a 6-hour surgery and I was exhausted. 17 days of proposals? That's either romantic or psychotic. I haven't decided which. He's persistent, bordering on obsessive. He's in love. Completely, obviously in love. She pulled off her scrubs, changing into street clothes. Elena, when are you going to admit you love him back? I never said I didn't love him. So you do love him? That's not the point. Love doesn't mean we're ready for marriage. I have my career, my independence, my life exactly how I want it. Marriage means compromise, changing everything, risking what? Being happy? Elena, you've been scared of commitment since I've known you. And yeah, your parents' divorce was ugly, but not every marriage ends that way. Most do. Statistically, screw statistics. You're not a statistic. And neither is Marco. That man shows up every day, faces rejection every day, and keeps trying. Do you know how rare that is? I did, which was why it terrified me. At home that night, I found a note slipped under my door. Elena, day 17. You said no, as expected. But I saw something today. When I first walked in before you put up your walls, you smiled. Just for a second. That smile gives me hope. I know you're scared. I know marriage feels like losing yourself. But Bellissima, being with you has made me more myself, not less. You make me want to be better, softer, more patient. You've changed me in ways I didn't know I needed. I'm not asking you to change for me. I'm asking you to grow with me. Partners equals building something neither of us could build alone. I'll ask again tomorrow. But Elena, know this. Whether you say yes tomorrow or in a year, I'll still be here. Still loving you. Still certain. Yours always, Marco. I sat on my apartment floor, holding the note, crying in a way I hadn't cried in years. Because he was right, I was scared, terrified of needing someone, of building a life with another person only to watch it crumble like my parents had. But I was also starting to realize that saying no every day was its own kind of torture. That pushing away something good because it might become bad was just another form of fear. Day 18 arrived with Marco waiting outside the hospital at 6 a.m., holding 2 coffees. You have a morning shift. I brought sustenance. He handed me a cup, perfectly made, exactly how I liked it. Elena Russo, will you marry me? No, but thank you for the coffee. You're welcome. See you tomorrow. Day 19, he showed up at my apartment with takeout from my favorite Thai place. Dinner and a question. Marry me? No. But I'll split the pad Thai with you. Deal. Tomorrow then. Day 20, I found him in the hospital parking garage leaning against my car. Long surgery. You look exhausted. Let me drive you home. And also marry me? I can drive myself. And no. Tomorrow it is. Each day the same question. Each day I said no. But each day it got harder. Because Marco wasn't just asking. He was showing up. Learning my life, being present without being pushy. Respecting my no while making it clear his feelings hadn't changed. This is the weirdest courtship I've ever witnessed, Sarah observed on day 23. He's basically wearing you down through sheer consistency. It's not wearing me down. I'm standing firm. Sure you are. That's why you save every note he leaves. Why you look for him during your breaks. Why you haven't told him to stop. I have told him to stop. Not convincingly. Elena, here's a radical thought. What if you just said yes? I'm not ready. When will you be ready? What magical moment are you waiting for? Because girl, a man who proposes every day for almost a month is pretty much the definition of commitment. If you can't trust that, what can you trust? I didn't have an answer. Because she was right. If Marco's daily proposals didn't prove commitment, what would? Day 30 arrived with something different. Marco wasn't alone. An elderly woman stood beside him, tiny, elegant, with sharp eyes and Marco's smile. Elena, this is my Nonna Rosa. She wanted to meet the woman I've been proposing to for a month. 30 days, Nonna Rosa said in accented English. My grandson, he proposed 30 days. You say no 30 times, why? I stared at her, then at Marco. You told your grandmother? I tell her everything. And she wanted to meet you. Nonna, this is Dr. Elena Russo. Elena, my father's mother, Rosa De Luca. Sit, Nonna Rosa commanded, gesturing to the hospital courtyard bench. We talk. I sat. She studied me with eyes that saw too much. You love him. I see this. But you say no. Why? It's complicated. Love is always complicated. Marriage more so. But child, you think saying no protects you? It doesn't. It just delays joy. My husband, he proposed once. I say no. He propose again next day. I say no. Third day, he say, Rosa, I ask every day until you say yes. I have patience. I have time. But we waste happiness being scared. So I say yes. We have 53 years together before he die. 53 years I almost lost because I was scared one day. But what if it doesn't work out? What if the sun doesn't rise tomorrow? What if you get sick? What if? She waved her hand dismissively. Life is risk. Love is bigger risk. But Elena, my Marco, he is good man. Patient man. Strong man. He don't give up on things that matter. And you matter. So stop being scared and start being brave. She stood, kissed my cheek, and walked away, leaving me with Marco. Your grandmother just lectured me. She's good at that. Comes from raising 5 children and 12 grandchildren. He sat beside me. Elena, I'm not asking today. I'm just sitting with you, being here. Because that's what I'll do, ask or not ask, proposal or not proposal, I'll be here. Every day, until you're ready. What if I'm never ready? Then I'll love you anyway. But Bellissima, I think you're closer to ready than you think. I see it in how you look at me. How you've stopped flinching when I mention the future. How you saved every note I've left. You're not scared of marrying me. You're scared of how much you want to say yes. He was right. God, he was right. I wanted to say yes. Wanted to build a life with him. Wanted to wake up beside him and face the world together. But the fear, the deep, ingrained fear that love meant loss, kept the word trapped in my throat. I need time, I whispered. I'll give you all the time you need. But Elena, I'm still asking tomorrow, because I need you to know I'm not going anywhere, that this isn't a phase or infatuation. This is me choosing you every single day, until you're ready to choose me back. He kissed my forehead and left me sitting in the courtyard, crying and confused and absolutely certain of only one thing. I was falling deeper in love with a man who refused to give up on me, even when I'd given him 30 reasons to. Day 31 started with roses. Not just any roses. 3 dozen red roses arranged in the shape of a heart in the doctor's lounge, with a card that read simply, "Marry me." Oh my God, Sarah breathed. He's escalating. He's being ridiculous. But I was smiling as I said it, touching the soft petals. This is too much. This is romantic. Elena, the man is trying. Let him try. The proposals continued, each one more creative than the last. Day 32, he hired a violinist to play outside the hospital during my lunch break, then appeared with a ring. Day 33, he left a trail of notes throughout the hospital, each one a reason why he loved me, ending with him in the cafeteria, down on one knee. Marco, people are staring. Let them. Elena Russo, will you marry me? No, but those notes were beautiful. I have 100 more reasons. Want to hear them? Not in the middle of the cafeteria. Tomorrow, then. By day 40, the entire hospital knew about Marco's daily proposals. Nurses whispered when I passed. Residents made bets on when I'd finally say yes. Even Dr. Chen, my mentor, pulled me aside. Dr. Russo, your personal life is affecting hospital morale. My heart sank. I'm sorry. I'll ask him to stop. No. You misunderstand. Everyone is invested now. The nurses have a pool going. The residents are taking bets. One of the orderlies asked if he could film tomorrow's proposal for his wife. Dr. Chen smiled. It's quite romantic, actually. A man who doesn't give up. We don't see that often anymore. You think I should say yes? I think you should do what makes you happy. But Dr. Russo, in my 40 years of marriage, I've learned something. Fear is a terrible reason to say no. And love is a wonderful reason to say yes. Consider which one you're choosing. That night, I called my mother for the first time in months. We'd been estranged since the divorce. She'd moved to Florida, started over, rarely looked back. But I needed to understand something. Mom, why did you and Dad get divorced? Silence then. Elena, is everything okay? I need to know. What happened? Why did it fall apart? She sighed. We grew apart. Your father wanted one life, I wanted another. We stopped talking, stopped trying. By the end, we were strangers living in the same house. Why are you asking? Someone wants to marry me, and I'm terrified I'll end up like you and Dad. That love won't be enough. Oh, sweetheart. Is he a good man? Yes, the best. Does he make you happy? Terrifyingly happy. Then Elena, listen to me carefully. Your father and I failed because we stopped fighting for each other. We gave up. But if this man is fighting for you, if he's showing up and trying, then you have something we didn't. You have someone who won't give up. Her voice softened. Don't let our failure poison your chance at happiness. You deserve better than that. After we hung up, I sat with her words. Someone who won't give up. That was Marco. 40 days of proposals, 40 days of showing up, never wavering, never doubting. Day 45 arrived with Marco waiting outside my apartment at 5 a.m. You have early rounds. I brought breakfast. He held up a bag from my favorite bakery. And a question. Let me guess. Will I marry you? Every day, Elena. Every day until you say yes. He handed me the bag and a coffee. But today I also have a request. Have dinner with my family this weekend. Nonna Rosa wants to see you again. My parents are coming from Italy, and I want them to meet the woman I'm going to marry. Marco, I haven't said yes. But you will. Eventually. And when you do, I want my family to already love you." His eyes held mine. "Please, just dinner. No proposals, no pressure. Just you, me, and the people who matter most. I should say no. Should maintain boundaries." But the hope in his eyes, the absolute certainty that I'd eventually say yes, made me nod. "Just dinner. No proposals, I promise. Though technically I'm still proposing now. Elena Russo, will you marry me?" "No, but I'll come to dinner. I'll take it. Saturday, 7 p.m. I'll pick you up." He kissed my cheek, a gesture that had become routine over 45 days of rejections. "See you tomorrow." Saturday arrived too quickly. I changed outfits 4 times, finally settling on a dress that said "meeting the family," without screaming "trying too hard." Marco picked me up exactly at 7, looking devastating in dark jeans and a button-down that showed his forearm tattoos. "You look beautiful," he said, his eyes traveling over me with clear appreciation. "My family is going to love you." What if they don't? Impossible. Nonna already adores you, and my parents trust her judgment completely. He helped me into his car. "Elena, relax. This is just dinner. Just people getting to know each other." His parents' house in Brooklyn was warm and chaotic, the kind of Italian family gathering I'd only seen in movies. Nonna Rosa held court in the kitchen, directing preparations like a general. Marco's mother, Lucia, hugged me immediately, speaking rapid Italian that Marco translated. "She says you're even prettier than my descriptions, and that you have kind eyes. Tell her thank you." She can understand English, just doesn't speak it well. "But yes, Mama, thank you. Elena, this is my father, Giovanni." Giovanni was an older version of Marco. Same build, same intensity, but with gray in his hair and laugh lines around his eyes. "Dr. Russo, my son talks of nothing but you. Every day, Elena this, Elena that. Now I see why. It's wonderful to meet you both. Thank you for having me." Dinner was loud, warm, full of overlapping conversations in Italian and English. They asked about my work, my life, my family. Never once did anyone mention the daily proposals or Marco's certainty about our future. They just welcomed me like I already belonged. After dinner, Nonna Rosa pulled me aside in the garden. "You come to dinner." "This is good sign." Marco invited me. It seemed rude to refuse. "You come because you want to, because you're ready to see what life with him looks like." She patted my hand. "You scared still, but less scared. This is progress." "How do you know I'm scared?" "Because I was scared too. When my husband proposed, I think, what if I lose myself? What if love not enough? But Elena, love is not about losing yourself. It's about finding bigger self. Self that can hold more joy, more pain, more life. Marco, he don't want to make you smaller. He want to make you bigger. You understand?" I thought I was beginning to, because tonight, surrounded by Marco's family, watching him interact with his parents and grandmother, I saw what life with him could be. Not limiting or confining, but expansive. Full, rich with connection and warmth and belonging. I understand. I think? Good. Now, he promised no proposal tonight. But I tell you secret. He want to propose right now. Want to ask you here. With family. With blessing. But he keep promise to you. This show character. He want you more than he want the asking. Remember this. Later, Marco drove me home. Both of us quiet. "Your family is wonderful," I said. "They loved you. My mother already asked when we're getting married." "I told her to ask you." He smiled. "What did Nonna Rosa say to you in the garden?" "That you want to propose here tonight, but kept your promise instead." She's right. Watching you with my family, seeing you laugh with my mother, debate politics with my father, listen to Nonna's stories, I wanted to ask right then. Wanted to say, this is what our life could be. "Say yes." He pulled up to my building. "But I promised no proposals tonight. So I'm keeping that promise." "What about tomorrow?" "Tomorrow I'm asking again. But tonight, I'm just a man who's grateful you came to dinner, who's grateful you met his family, who's grateful for every no because it means you're still here, still considering, still in my life." He walked me to my door. "Good night, Elena." "Marco, wait." I turned to face him. "Why? Why do you keep asking? What makes you so certain I'll eventually say yes?" "Because you love me, and I love you. And despite all your fears, all your walls, all your very logical reasons to say no, you haven't walked away. You could have ended this after the first proposal, could have told me to stop, to move on, to find someone less complicated. But you didn't. You keep showing up. You met my family. You save every note I write. You look for me during your breaks even though you pretend you don't. He cupped my face gently. You're going to say yes, Elena, because deep down you want to. You just need to be brave enough to admit it. What if I'm never that brave? Then I'll be brave enough for both of us. Until you're ready. He kissed my forehead. Sleep well, Bellissima. I'll see you tomorrow. For another proposal? For another opportunity to tell you I love you and want to spend my life with you. The proposal is just the vehicle. The message is what matters. After he left, I stood in my apartment, surrounded by 45 days' worth of notes and flowers and small tokens he'd left. Evidence of a man who'd been rejected 45 times and kept trying, who'd promised no proposals tonight and kept that promise even though he wanted to ask, who loved me enough to be patient while I figured out how to be brave. Maybe, I thought, it was time to start trying. Day 50 arrived with something different. Marco was at the hospital as usual, but instead of proposing immediately, he held out an envelope. Before I ask today's question, I want you to read this. Inside was a letter, in his handwriting, several pages long. Elena, today is day 50. 50 days of asking. 50 days of hearing no. 50 days of hoping tomorrow will be different. People think I'm crazy. My consigliere says I'm obsessed. Sarah, yes, I've spoken to Sarah. She's very protective of you. Thinks I'm either incredibly romantic or need therapy. Maybe all of those are true, but here's what I know. I'm 35 years old. I've built a successful business, traveled the world, met countless people, and in all of that, I've never met anyone who makes me want to be better the way you do. You make me want to be patient when my instinct is to push. You make me want to earn things instead of taking them. You make me want to build a partnership instead of just taking a wife. You've changed me, Elena. Made me softer without making me weaker. Made me thoughtful without making me passive. Made me believe that love is worth fighting for, even when it feels impossible. 50 days ago, I asked you to marry me. You said no, and I could have walked away. Could have protected my pride, found someone easier, moved on. But Elena, you're not someone I can move on from. You're someone I want to move forward with. Toward. Into a future that's bigger and better than anything I could build alone. I'm going to keep asking. Not because I'm stubborn, though I am, but because I see you. I see the fear, but I also see the want. The desire for something real warring with the terror of losing it. And I want you to know, I'm not your parents. We're not destined to fail. We're two people choosing each other. Every day. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. So yes, I'll ask again today. And tomorrow. And every day after. Because you're worth the rejection. Worth the patience. Worth every moment of uncertainty. And when you finally say yes, and you will, it will be worth the wait. All my love. Marco, I finished reading with tears streaming down my face. Because he was right about all of it. The fear, the want, the war inside me. And he was right that I was going to say yes, eventually, when I finally worked up the courage. That was 50 days worth of feelings, I said, my voice shaky. That was 50 days worth of certainty that you're the one. Elena, he took my hands. I'm still going to ask. But I want you to know it's not just a question. It's a promise. I promise to be patient, to be present, to love you even when you're scared, to show up every day, proposal or no proposal, until you're ready to show up too. So, Elena Russo, will you marry me? I looked at him. This man who'd spent 50 days proving he wouldn't give up. Who'd written me a letter instead of just asking. Who saw my fear and loved me anyway. Not yet, I whispered, but soon. I promise, Marco, soon. His smile was blinding. Soon is better than no. I'll take it. And Elena, thank you. For what? For soon. For trying. For being brave enough to admit you want this too. That's more than I had yesterday. It's enough. He kissed my hand. See you tomorrow. For day 51. Same question. Same question. Different hope. Because tomorrow you might say yes. I might, I agreed. And for the first time, I believed it. Day 51 started differently. Marco appeared at the hospital as usual, but this time he just handed me coffee and smiled. No proposal today? I asked, surprised. You said soon. I'm giving you space to figure out when soon becomes now. He touched my cheek gently. I'll still be here. Still loving you. But Elena, I realized something after yesterday. I've been asking you to be brave enough to say yes. Maybe I need to be brave enough to stop asking. To trust that when you're ready, you'll tell me. Wait, you're stopping? After 50 days? Not stopping. Just pausing, giving you room to breathe. To come to me when you're ready, instead of me pushing you every day. His eyes held mine. I love you. That hasn't changed, but I want you to choose me because you can't imagine not choosing me. Not because I wore you down with persistence. He left, and I stood holding the coffee, feeling strangely bereft. For 50 days, I'd known exactly what to expect. Marco would appear, would ask, would accept my no with patience. It had become routine, comfortable in its own way. And now he'd stopped. Given me what I'd claimed I wanted. Space, time, freedom from the daily pressure. I hated it. He stopped asking. Sarah was incredulous when I told her during our break. After 50 days of the most romantic gesture I've ever witnessed, he just stopped. He said he wants me to come to him, to choose him instead of him asking me. And how do you feel about that? Terrible. Lost. Like something's missing. I put my head in my hands. God, Sarah, I miss it. I miss him asking. Miss knowing he'll be there with that stupid ring and that patient smile. What's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. You're in love. And you just realized that his proposals weren't pressure. They were proof. Proof that he's consistent, reliable, not going anywhere. And now that proof is gone, you're panicking. She was right. I was panicking. Because for 50 days I'd known exactly how Marco felt. He'd shown up every single day, making his feelings clear. And now, in the absence of that daily confirmation, I felt unmoored. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Marco's letter, about Nonna Rosa's words, about my mother saying, "Don't let our failure poison your chance at happiness." About 50 days of a man proving he wouldn't give up. And I realized I didn't want him to give up. I wanted him to keep asking, because every proposal had been him saying, "I choose you." And I'd gotten used to being chosen, had started to believe I was worth choosing. At 2 a.m. I called him. "Elena? What's wrong? Why did you stop asking?" Silence. Then carefully, "Because I thought you needed space." "I don't need space. I stopped, trying to find words. "Marco, for 50 days you showed up. Every day you proved you weren't leaving, that you meant it. And I got used to that, started to trust it. And now you've stopped, and I feel like I'm falling. Like I lost something I didn't realize I needed. You need me to keep asking. I need you to keep choosing me. The proposals, they weren't pressure. They were proof that you're sure, that you're not going anywhere, that this is real. Elena, it is real. Me not asking doesn't change how I feel. I know, but I took a breath. What if I'm not ready for you to stop? What if I need more time to work up to yes, but I need to know you're still waiting? Then I'll wait. And I'll ask. Every day, if that's what you need. But Bellissima, I need you to understand something. I stopped because I trust you. Trust that you love me enough to come to me when you're ready. But if you need the daily reminder, I'll give you that. Whatever you need to feel safe enough to say yes. I'm sorry I'm so complicated. I don't want simple. I want you. Complicated, scared, brilliant you. And if daily proposals help you feel safe, then I'll propose daily. Starting tomorrow. But Elena, know this. Whether I ask or don't ask, my feelings haven't changed. I love you. I want to marry you. I'm not going anywhere. I fell asleep feeling lighter. Because he understood. Understood that I needed the consistency, the daily proof, the ritual of him asking, and me moving closer to yes. Day 52, Marco was back. Coffee, smile, and the familiar question. "Elena Russo, will you marry me?" "Not yet, but soon. I promise. Soon is enough. See you tomorrow." The proposals continued. Day 55, he asked in the hospital parking lot. Day 58, outside my favorite coffee shop. Day 60, in the hospital chapel after a particularly difficult surgery where I'd lost a young patient. That day, I'd been crying. The kind of deep, exhausted crying that comes after doing everything right and still failing. Marco found me, didn't say anything, just held me. When I finally stopped, he pulled back slightly. "Bad day? The worst, 6-year-old, we did everything." My voice broke. It wasn't enough. "I'm sorry." He just held me, steady and solid. Then, after a long moment, "Elena, will you marry me?" "That's your question? Now? After I just lost a patient?" "Now especially. Because, Elena, life is short. Tragedy happens, and we don't get guarantees about tomorrow. So yes, I'm asking now, because I want to spend every tomorrow I have with you. The good days and the terrible ones. The victories and the losses, all of it. Marry me." I looked at him. This man who'd found me at my lowest and still asked, still wanted me, still saw a future worth fighting for. Not yet. "But Marco, soon. Really soon, I'll be here. As long as it takes." That night, Sarah came over with wine and takeout. "You're going to say yes. You know that, right?" "I think so. I'm just scared." "I know, you've said. But Elena, at some point, you have to decide if being scared is worth missing out on being happy. That man loves you, shows up for you every day. Would probably move mountains if you asked. What more proof do you need?" "I don't know. What if I say yes and everything changes? What if I lose myself? What if it's amazing? What if you're happier than you've ever been? What if this is the best decision you ever make?" Sarah grabbed my hands. "Elena, you're my best friend. And I love you. But you're about to lose something extraordinary because you're too scared to risk being happy. Don't do that, please." Day 70 arrived with a crisis. Marco didn't show up for the morning proposal. No text, no call, nothing. For the first time in 70 days, he simply wasn't there. At first, I assumed he'd overslept or got caught in traffic. But by noon, when there was still no word, worry crept in. I texted him, "Where are you? You missed today's proposal." No response. I called. Straight to voicemail. "Something's wrong," I told Sarah. "He's never missed a day. Never. Not once." "Maybe he's giving you space again?" "No, he wouldn't do that without telling me. After our conversation, he promised he'd keep asking." Something's wrong. I was about to call his restaurant when an unknown number called. "Is this Dr. Elena Russo?" "Yes, who is this?" "I'm calling from St. Vincent's Hospital. You're listed as an emergency contact for Marco DeLuca. He's been admitted. There was an incident. My heart stopped." "What kind of incident? Is he okay?" "He's stable, but you should come. He's been asking for you." I barely remembered the drive to St. Vincent's. Barely registered finding his room. All I knew was that Marco, my Marco, who'd been my constant for 70 days, was hurt, and I needed to see him. He was awake when I burst in, left arm in a sling, bruises on his face, but alive. "So alive, Elena?" He tried to sit up and winced. "You came?" "Of course I came, you idiot." "What happened?" "Business dispute. Got physical. It's handled now, but..." He stopped, seeing my face. "Don't cry, Bellissima. I'm fine. Just banged up." "You're not fine. You're in a hospital bed. You could have been killed." Tears streamed down my face. "Marco, you promised you'd be there. Every day. And today you weren't there, and I thought, I'm sorry. I should have had Luca call you. But everything happened so fast. And then I was here and..." He reached for my hand with his uninjured arm. "Elena, I'm okay. I promise. Don't make promises you can't keep." I was crying harder now. "Don't promise to show up every day if there's a chance you won't. Don't promise forever if your world might take you away. Don't, Elena, breathe. Look at me." His voice was firm but gentle. "I'm here. I'm okay. And I'm still asking. Even from this hospital bed, I'm still asking. Will you marry me? You're injured. This isn't the time. This is exactly the time. Because, Elena, today scared me. Not the fight, not the injury, but the thought that I might die without hearing you say yes. That I might run out of tomorrows before you're ready. So I'm asking, right now, marry me. Marco, I'm not your parents. I'm not going to leave you or fail you or stop choosing you. I'm going to show up. Every day that I can. And on the days I can't physically be there, I'll be there in every other way. But Elena, I need you to be brave enough to trust that. To believe we're worth the risk. So please, marry me." I looked at him. Battered but unbroken. Asking from a hospital bed, still certain, still choosing me. And something inside me finally broke open. "Yes." He froze. "What?" "Yes, I'll marry you. I'll marry you, Marco DeLuca, even though it terrifies me. Even though I'm scared I'll lose myself or mess it up or repeat my parents' mistakes. Yes, because the thought of losing you today was worse than any of those fears. Yes, Because you've shown up for 70 days and I want to show up for you for the rest of our lives. Yes, because I love you, so yes. My answer is yes. For a moment, he just stared. Then his face broke into the most beautiful smile I'd ever seen. Say it again. Yes, I'll marry you. Again. Yes. He pulled me down carefully with his good arm and kissed me. 70 days. You made me wait 70 days. Worth it. Completely worth it. I'm sorry I took so long. Don't be. You took exactly as long as you needed. And Elena, you just made me the happiest man in New York. Possibly the world. In a hospital bed. I said yes in a hospital bed. I don't care where you said it. Just that you said it. He fumbled for the bedside table. Luca brought my things. Including, he pulled out the familiar ring box. I've been carrying this for 70 days. Asking for 70 days. And now finally, I get to put this on your finger, may I? I held out my left hand and he slipped the ring on. Perfect fit. Beautiful. Exactly right. Mrs. DeLuca. Almost. Almost. But definitely. Finally. Yes. The next morning, I woke up in the hospital chair beside Marco's bed, my neck cramped and my left hand heavy with the unfamiliar weight of an engagement ring. For a moment, I panicked. Had I really said yes? Had I really committed to marriage after 70 days of refusing? Then Marco's voice, rough with sleep. Good morning, fiancé. Fiancé. I was someone's fiancé. His fiancé. Morning. How are you feeling? Like I got into a fight and won the girl anyway. Perfect. He smiled, then winced. Okay, maybe not perfect. These painkillers are wearing off. But Elena, you're here. You said yes. That makes everything perfect enough. I can't believe I said yes in a hospital. I can't believe you said yes at all. 70 days of no, then 1 day in the ICU, and suddenly you're ready to marry me. I should have gotten injured sooner. Don't even joke about that. I squeezed his hand. Marco, when they called and said you were hurt, I realized all my fears about marriage were smaller than my fear of losing you. That was terrifying. Good terrifying or bad terrifying? Good, I think. Clarifying. Like my priorities suddenly snapped into focus. I touched the ring, still getting used to it. But now I'm engaged, and I don't know what happens next. Do we set a date? Tell people? Plan a wedding? I've never done this before. Neither have I. So we figure it out together. But first, he shifted carefully. We tell my family, because Nonna Rosa is going to lose her mind. She's been praying for this since day 1. Your family knows you proposed 70 times. They knew by day 5. They've been incredibly invested. My mother lights a candle every week. Nonna keeps trying to teach me patience, which is hilarious given I'm the one proposing daily. My father started a pool on what day you'd say yes. He was closest. Guessed day 68. Your entire family bet on when I'd say yes? Italian families. We're very supportive. And nosy. Mostly nosy. He picked up his phone with his good hand. I'm calling them. Right now. Nonna needs to know her prayers worked. The call was loud, chaotic, full of Italian exclamations and what sounded like crying. When Marco finally hung up, he was grinning despite obvious pain. They're coming. All of them. Tonight. With food. Because apparently you can't celebrate an engagement without a feast. I tried to explain I'm in a hospital, but Nonna doesn't care. She's bringing the feast here. They're bringing a feast to the hospital? This is how you learn what marrying into an Italian family means. Loud celebrations in inappropriate places. You're going to fit right in. That evening, Marco's hospital room transformed into a makeshift party. Nonna Rosa arrived first with enough food to feed the entire floor. Lucia and Giovanni came with wine, which technically wasn't allowed, but no one seemed to care. Cousins, aunts, uncles streamed in, until the room was bursting with people and noise and overwhelming love. Elena, Nonna Rosa pulled me into a fierce hug. You say yes, finally. I tell you, be brave. You listen. Good girl. Thank you for the advice. You were right. I know. I'm always right. Now you eat. You too skinny. We fix this. She shoved a plate into my hands. And wedding, we plan soon. Before you change mind, Nonna, Marco protested weakly. We just got engaged yesterday. Give her time. Time? You wait 70 days. Is enough time. Now we plan. But her eyes were warm, teasing. I joke, mostly, but Elena, welcome to family. You belong now. Belonging. Such a simple word, but it hit me hard. Because I did belong. These people had welcomed me from day one, when I was still saying no, had believed in Marco's certainty even when I didn't, and now they were celebrating like I'd always been one of them. Thank you, I managed, throat tight, for accepting me, for being patient with me. Pazienza, Giovanni said, lifting his glass. Patience is family virtue. Marco learned from best. Now we toast. To Elena and Marco. To 70 days of asking. To 1 day of yes. To lifetime of love. Salute! Salute! Everyone echoed. And suddenly I was surrounded by hugs and congratulations and plans being made in rapid Italian. Sarah arrived an hour later, took one look at the chaos, and started laughing. This is the most Italian thing I've ever witnessed. Is that wine? In a hospital? Don't ask questions. Just drink and celebrate, I pulled her aside. I said yes, I heard. The nurses are gossiping. Apparently the entire hospital knows. Elena, I'm so happy for you. She hugged me tightly. You did it. You were brave. I was terrified. Same thing in your case. So wedding planning? Have you thought about dates? We literally got engaged yesterday. In this room. While he was bleeding. Romantic. In a traumatic sort of way. She looked at Marco, who was surrounded by family, laughing despite obvious pain. He's good for you. Makes you softer without making you weak. That's rare, I know. That's why I finally said yes. Took 70 days and a near-death experience, but I got there. Better late than never. Now, can I see the ring? I held out my hand and Sarah whistled. Damn, that's Elena, this is beautiful. And expensive. Like really expensive, I know. He's been carrying it for 70 days. Every day, pulling it out and asking. I can't imagine the hope it took to keep that ring in his pocket, not knowing if I'd ever say yes. That's love. Real, patient, unwavering love. You're lucky, I know. I really, really know. Marco was released from the hospital 3 days later with strict orders to rest and avoid physical activity for 2 weeks. I took personal time from the hospital to stay with him. Partly because he needed help. Partly because I couldn't stand the thought of being apart after almost losing him. His penthouse was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan. Modern furniture mixed with family photos. A space that was somehow both masculine and warm. This would be my home soon. Our home. You're panicking again, Marco observed from the couch, where he was supposed to be resting. I can see it on your face. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Just, this is real now. We're engaged. We're planning a life together. I'm going to live here in this penthouse that probably costs more than I make in 5 years. It's a lot. Elena, come here. He patted the couch beside him. Listen to me. This penthouse? It's just a space. It becomes a home because you're in it. And yes, it's expensive. Yes, I have money you don't. But that's not about power or control. It's just circumstance. You're a surgeon. You save lives. I run restaurants and other businesses. Different worlds, same value, okay? Okay, but Marco, I need to contribute. Need to feel like an equal partner, not someone you're taking care of. Then contribute. Keep working. Keep your career. Keep your independence. I don't want you to give up anything. I want you to add me to your life, not replace your life with me. Partners, remember? That's what we agreed to. Partners, I repeated, settling against him carefully to avoid his injured arm. I can do partners. Good. Because, Elena, I need you to understand something. I'm not trying to change you. I fell in love with Dr. Elena Russo. Brilliant surgeon, fiercely independent, scared of commitment but brave enough to face it anyway. That woman is who I want to marry, not some diminished version. You. Exactly as you are. Even the scared parts, especially the scared parts, they make the brave parts more impressive. Over the next week, we fell into a routine. I'd work at the hospital, come home to Marco, and we'd navigate this new reality of being engaged. Small things. Whose coffee maker to use, how to split groceries, what side of the bed we each preferred. Building a life together, one detail at a time. We should set a date, Marco said one evening over dinner. Nothing too soon, I know you need time. But Elena, I don't want a long engagement. I've already waited 70 days to even get to yes. I'd like to actually marry you before I'm 40. You're 35. We have time. I'd prefer to use that time as your husband, not your fiancé. What about spring? 6 months from now? That gives you time to plan without making me wait another year. 6 months. That was fast, but not crazy. Time to plan a wedding, prepare emotionally, but not so long that I'd overthink myself back into fear. Spring sounds good. April or May? May is perfect. Flowers blooming, weather warming, everything coming alive. Like us. He took my hand. Elena Russo, future wife, will you marry me in May? I laughed. You're still asking? I'll always be asking. Different questions now, but same spirit. Choosing you every day in every way I can. So, May wedding? May wedding, I agreed. But Marco, I want something small. Intimate. Not some huge Italian wedding with 300 people. Define small. 50 people maximum. Close family, close friends. Something meaningful, not showy. He considered. I can probably get my family down to 40 people. That leaves 10 for your side. Deal? You have 40 close family members? I'm Italian. We collect relatives like other people collect stamps. But yes, I'll limit it to the closest 40. For you, I'll manage my mother's disappointment when I tell her she can't invite her entire book club. Your mother's in a book club. 2 book clubs. A gardening club. And something she calls ladies' lunch, which is basically an excuse to gossip and drink wine. She's very social. You're going to love her. Eventually. Once you adjust to the fact that she has no concept of personal boundaries. We set the date officially. May 15th, 6 months away. Word spread quickly through both our worlds. The hospital staff threw me an impromptu engagement party during a night shift. Sarah gave a speech about how I'd finally stopped being scared long enough to be happy. Dr. Chen offered his congratulations with a knowing smile, like he'd seen this coming all along. Marco's world was more complicated. His associates, the men in expensive suits who visited the penthouse for business meetings, offered congratulations that felt loaded with meaning I didn't quite understand. But Marco assured me it was fine. They were pleased. My being a doctor added legitimacy to his public profile. I didn't ask too many questions about the business. Part of our agreement was that I'd stay separate from that world. I knew Marco wasn't entirely legitimate, knew his restaurants were successful but probably not the only source of his wealth. But I'd decided I could live with not knowing every detail, as long as he kept that world from touching our life together. Is this sustainable? I asked one night after a particularly tense business meeting in his home office. You running businesses I can't know about while we're building a marriage based on honesty? I'm honest about everything that affects us. The business, Elena, it's complicated and sometimes dangerous, and I keep you separate to keep you safe. But I promise I'm working towards something fully legitimate. In 5 years, maybe less, everything will be clean. Legal. Something our kids can be proud of. Kids? My heart skipped. We've never talked about kids. Do you want them? Eventually, I thought about it. About tiny humans with Marco's eyes and my stubbornness. About building a family. About being parents together. It terrified me, but it also felt right in a way I couldn't explain. Yes? Eventually. Not immediately, but yes. Do you? I want everything with you. Kids, family dinners, chaos and noise and mess. I want to build something bigger than just us. Something that lasts. He pulled me close. But we have time. First, we get married. Then we figure out the rest. One step at a time. One step at a time. I could do that. We could do that. Together. 3 months before the wedding, reality hit. Planning a ceremony, coordinating vendors, dealing with guest lists and seating charts and 1,000 details I'd never considered. Lucia tried to help, but her version of small, intimate wedding involved opera singers and a 7-course meal. Marco, your mother wants to hire an opera singer. Tell her no. I did. She smiled and changed the subject. I think she's hiring one anyway. I'll talk to her. Elena, I'm sorry. She's excited. Sometimes that means she steamrolls over boundaries. It's fine. She's wonderful. Just intense. That's the DeLuca family motto. Wonderful but intense. You'll get used to it. I hoped so. Because in 3 months, I'd officially be part of this wonderful, intense, overwhelming family. And despite all the chaos and uncertainty and occasional terror, I couldn't wait. Because 71 days ago, I'd finally said yes to the man who'd asked me 70 times. And every day since, I'd gotten more certain I'd made the right choice. Scary, overwhelming, absolutely right. 2 months before the wedding, I woke up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat, my heart racing with panic I couldn't name. Marco stirred beside me. Elena, what's wrong? I don't know. I can't breathe. Everything feels too big. Too fast, hey, look at me. He sat up, pulling me against his chest. Breathe with me. In through your nose, out through your mouth. That's it. You're okay. We're okay. After my breathing steadied, he asked gently, talk to me. What's going on in that brilliant, terrifying brain of yours? The wedding is in 8 weeks. 8 weeks, Marco. And I'm going to stand in front of all those people and promise forever. And what if I can't keep that promise? What if I'm not good at being married? What if you're amazing at it? What if we're both learning together and it's messy but beautiful? What if all your fears are just that? Fears, not predictions. He tilted my face up. Elena, you're having cold feet. It's normal. Expected even. You've been scared of commitment since day one. Of course you're panicking now that it's real. But you're not panicking. I had my panic during the 70 days you kept saying no. Spent a lot of nights wondering if I was delusional, if I should give up, if I was pushing too hard. But I worked through it, decided you were worth the risk. Now it's your turn to work through it. How? By remembering why you said yes. By remembering that hospital room when you thought you might lose me, and realized all your fears were smaller than that loss. By trusting that feeling more than the 3 a.m. panic. He kissed my forehead. I love you. You love me. We're good together. The rest is just details and fear. We can handle both. I wanted to believe him. Wanted to trust that the certainty I'd felt in that hospital hadn't been just crisis-induced clarity. But the doubt was loud, and it was 3 a.m., and everything felt impossible. What if I'm making a mistake? Then we'll unmake it. But Elena, I don't think you are. I think you're scared, because this is real and permanent and vulnerable. All the things that terrify you. But you're brave. You've proven that. You just need to be brave one more time. On May 15th. That's all I'm asking. One more time, I repeated. I can do that. I think? You can. And I'll be there waiting. Like I always am. The next morning, I called Sarah. I'm freaking out. About the wedding? Totally normal. What specifically? All of it. The permanence. The vulnerability. The fact that I'm promising forever when I can barely plan next week. Sarah, what if I can't do this? Elena, remember when you were in med school and you thought you couldn't do your first solo surgery? You were convinced you'd freeze or mess up or kill someone. And what happened? I did the surgery. It went fine. Better than fine. It was textbook perfect. Because Elena, you're someone who rises to challenges. Who does hard things scared? Marriage is just another hard thing. You'll do it scared, and it'll be fine. Better than fine. You're sure? I'm sure you love him. I'm sure he loves you. I'm sure you're better together than apart. The rest, you'll figure out. That's what marriage is. Figuring it out together. I wanted to believe her. Wanted to trust that my 3 a.m. panic was just fear, not instinct. So I decided to try. To push through the doubt and trust the yes I'd given 70 days ago. But the doubt didn't disappear. It just went quiet. Waiting. 6 weeks before the wedding, Lucia insisted on throwing me a bridal shower. I'd tried to decline. Too much attention. Too many expectations. But she'd looked so hurt that I agreed. The shower was at Nona Rosa's house, filled with Marco's female relatives and a few of my friends from the hospital. Games, gifts, the obligatory embarrassing stories about Marco as a child. It should have been fun, should have felt celebratory. Instead, I felt like I was play acting, pretending to be excited when really I was terrified, smiling when I wanted to run. You look pale, Nona Rosa observed, pulling me aside into her kitchen. You okay? Just overwhelmed. So many people, so much attention. Is not just that. You scared again. I see it. She patted my hand. Is normal. Getting married is big change. Scary change. But Elena, remember what I tell you before. Being scared is not reason to say no. Is reason to be brave? But what if I'm not brave enough? What if I say I do, and then panic and ruin everything? Then you panic and Marco help you. That's what marriage is. You panic, he steady you. He panic, you steady him. Back and forth, taking turns being strong. You understand? I'm supposed to be strong enough on my own. Says who? This American idea, everyone's strong alone. Is lonely, is hard. Better to be strong together. Let Marco help carry fears. That's what he's there for. After the shower, Marco picked me up. One look at my face and he knew. That bad. I smiled for 3 hours while having a panic attack. So yes, that bad. He drove us not home but to a quiet spot overlooking the river. We sat in the car, watching the water, neither speaking. Finally, tell me the truth. Do you want to cancel the wedding? My heart stopped. What? If you're this miserable, this panicked, maybe we should postpone. Give you more time. Or, he stopped. Or call it off if that's what you need. You'd do that? After everything? Elena, I'd rather have you happy and unmarried than miserable and my wife. So yes, if you need out, I'll understand. It'll kill me, but I'll understand. I sat with that, with the option to run, to escape the fear by avoiding the commitment. It was what the terrified part of me wanted, the easy out, the safe choice. But then I thought about Marco, about 70 days of proposals, about him holding me at 3 a.m., about the way he looked at me like I was worth fighting for, worth waiting for, worth everything. I don't want out, I said quietly. I want to stop being so scared, want to trust this enough to stop sabotaging it. But Marco, I don't know how. Every time I start to relax, the fear comes back. Louder, more insistent. Then maybe you need to face it, really face it. What's the worst thing that could happen if you marry me? We could fail, end up like my parents, bitter and divorced and hating each other. Okay, what else? I could lose myself, become just someone's wife instead of myself, and you could leave, die, abandon me, prove that loving someone is just setting yourself up for loss. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, Elena, all of those things are possible. I can't promise we won't fight or struggle or have hard times. Can't promise I'll never die. No one can promise that. Can't even promise you won't lose parts of yourself. Though I'll do everything I can to make sure you don't. But here's what I can promise. I'll show up. Every day, every fight, every hard moment. I'll choose you and us and the life we're building. That's all anyone can promise. Presence, effort, choice. What if it's not enough? Then we tried, together. But Elena, I think it will be enough. I think we'll be messy and imperfect and sometimes scared, but ultimately okay. More than okay. Happy even, if you let us be. If I let us be. That was the key, wasn't it? My fear was the obstacle, not the relationship. Marco had proven himself 100 times over. The question was whether I'd trust that proof. I want to be brave enough. You are. You just need to believe it. He took my hand. 8 weeks, Elena. In 8 weeks, you'll walk down an aisle toward me, and you'll have a choice in that moment. To run or to stay. To let fear win or to choose love. I'm betting on love. I'm betting on you. But ultimately, it's your choice. I'll be there either way. Waiting, hoping, choosing you. 8 weeks. I had 8 weeks to decide if I was brave enough to choose him back. 4 weeks before the wedding, my parents called. Both of them, on the same call, a rarity since the divorce. Elena, we heard you're getting married, my mother said. Why didn't you tell us? It happened fast, and honestly, I wasn't sure you'd care. Of course we care, my father interjected. You're our daughter. We want to be there, support you. Really? Because you haven't supported each other in 15 years. Why would I trust you to support my marriage? Silence. Then my mother. That's fair. We failed at marriage. Failed at showing you what love looks like. And Elena, I'm sorry. Truly sorry that our failure made you scared of your own happiness. Your father and I, we gave up too easily. Stopped trying. Let resentment win. But sweetheart, that doesn't have to be your story. This Marco, tell us about him. So I did. About the proposals, the patience, the way he'd shown up every day. About how he steadied me when I panicked and gave me space when I needed it. About how he made me want to be braver than I was. He sounds like a good man, my father said. Someone who fights for what he wants. He is. He's everything, and I'm terrified I'll ruin it. You won't, my mother said firmly. Because you're aware of the pitfalls. You've seen what not to do. And Elena, you're stronger than we were. Braver. If you love him, and he loves you, you'll figure out the rest. After the call, I felt lighter. My parents' approval didn't fix everything, but it helped. Helped me see that their failure didn't have to be my template, that I could write a different story. 2 weeks before the wedding, Sarah threw my bachelorette party. Low-key, dinner, drinks, no strippers or chaos, just my closest friends celebrating. To Elena, Sarah toasted, who took 71 days to say yes, but is finally getting her happy ending. It's not an ending. It's a beginning, even better, to new beginnings, to brave choices, to love that's worth the wait. We drank, and I felt it, the shift from fear to something else. Not certainty, not yet, but possibility. The chance that maybe, just maybe, I could do this, could be married and happy and still myself. You're smiling? Sarah observed. Real smile, not panic smile. I think I'm okay. Finally, maybe. Maybe is progress. 2 weeks ago, you were ready to bolt. Now you're maybe okay. I'll take it. Me too. And Sarah, thank you for not giving up on me, for pushing me to be brave. That's what friends do. Push you toward happiness, even when you're fighting it. She squeezed my hand. You're going to be fine, Elena. Better than fine. You're going to be happy. 1 week before the wedding, I believed her. The night before the wedding, Marco and I broke tradition. Instead of staying apart, we sat on the penthouse balcony, watching the city lights, holding hands in comfortable silence. You're supposed to be at a hotel, I said. Bad luck to see the bride before the wedding. I don't believe in luck. I believe in us. And Elena, I need to see you tonight. Need to make sure you're okay. That you're still choosing this. Choosing me. I'm still choosing you. The panic is quieter now. Still there, but manageable. Like background noise instead of a scream. That's progress. Good progress. He squeezed my hand. Tomorrow, when you walk down that aisle, you're going to have a moment of doubt. Maybe several moments. That's normal. Expected. But Elena, I need you to know, I'll be at the end of that aisle, waiting, like I always have been. And if you need to turn around and run, I'll understand. But if you keep walking toward me, I'll spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret it. You're very confident I won't run. I'm very hopeful. There's a difference. He turned to face me fully. But Elena, promise me something. If tomorrow you wake up and you're certain you can't do this, really certain, not just scared, you'll tell me. Before the ceremony, before we stand in front of everyone, because I'd rather have an honest no than a reluctant yes. You're giving me an out, the night before our wedding. I'm giving you a choice, always a choice. That's what love is, choosing each other, freely, every single day. And tomorrow you get to choose again. I'm just making sure you know that. I loved him so much in that moment it hurt. This man who'd proposed 70 times, who'd been patient through all my fear, who'd give me an escape route the night before our wedding just to make sure I was truly choosing him. I'm not running. I'm walking down that aisle tomorrow, and I'm marrying you, Marco DeLuca. Scared but certain. Terrified but sure. That's my choice. His smile was blinding. Then I'll see you tomorrow, Dr. Russo. For the last time you'll have that name. Dr. DeLuca. That's going to take some getting used to. You have a lifetime to adjust. Starting tomorrow. May 15th arrived with perfect weather, sunny, warm, the kind of spring day that felt like a gift. I woke up in the hotel room where Sarah had insisted I spend the night, surrounded by my bridesmaids, feeling strangely calm. How are you feeling? Sarah asked, bringing me coffee. Okay, good actually, ready. No panic? No urge to flee? Oh, the urge is there, but it's quieter than the urge to marry him, so I'm counting that as a win. The morning passed in a blur of hair and makeup, the dress fitting perfectly, my mother arriving with tears already in her eyes. My father showed up an hour before the ceremony, awkward but present, offering to walk me down the aisle. I know I haven't earned it, but Elena, I'd be honored. If you'll let me, I'd like that. Thank you for coming, for being here. I'm sorry I haven't been here before. Sorry we showed you such a broken version of marriage. But sweetheart, what you have with Marco, that's the real thing. Don't let our failure poison your chance at that. I'm trying not to. It's harder than it sounds, I know. But you're doing it anyway. That's bravery. I'm proud of you. The ceremony was at a small garden venue in Brooklyn, intimate and beautiful with white flowers everywhere, and string quartet playing softly. 50 people. Marco's family, my friends from the hospital, a few of his business associates in expensive suits. Small, like I'd wanted. Perfect. I stood at the entrance with my father, looking down the aisle toward Marco. He was standing at the altar in a dark navy suit, Luca beside him as best man, his eyes locked on me with absolute certainty. No doubt, no fear. Just love and patience and hope. "You can do this," my father whispered. "Just keep walking toward him." One step at a time, the music changed. Everyone stood, and I had my moment, the moment Marco had predicted. The surge of panic that said run, escape, protect yourself. The fear that this was too big, too permanent, too vulnerable. But then Marco smiled. That patient, knowing smile that said he saw my fear and loved me anyway. That said he'd wait while I worked through it. That said I was worth all of it. The proposals, the patience, the unwavering certainty. And I chose him. Chose love over fear. Chose vulnerability over safety. Chose the man who'd asked 70 times and would have asked 70,000 more if that's what I needed. I walked down the aisle. One step, another step, slowly but steadily toward the man waiting for me. My father kissed my cheek at the end and placed my hand in Marco's. "Take care of her," he said quietly. "Every day, I promise." The ceremony was a blur of words and rituals, but a few moments stood out crystal clear. Marco's vows, written himself, delivered with steady voice and sure hands. "Elena, I've loved you since day one. Literally, day one, when I first asked and you first said no. And I've loved you every day since. Through 70 days of rejections, through your fear, through your very logical reasons why this was a bad idea. I loved you when you couldn't love yourself enough to say yes. And I love you now, standing here, choosing me back. You're my certainty in an uncertain world, my patience teacher, my reason for becoming better. And I promise to spend our marriage showing up. Every day, every challenge, every moment. Choosing you, loving you, being worthy of the yes you finally gave me. This is my vow, I'll never stop asking. Maybe not, will you marry me anymore, but how can I love you today? What do you need? How can I help? Different questions, same commitment. You said yes once. I'll spend my life making sure you never regret it. By the time he finished, I was crying. Then it was my turn. Marco, you asked me 70 times to marry you, and I said no 70 times. Not because I didn't love you. I've loved you since probably day 15, though I wouldn't admit it. I said no because I was terrified. Terrified of needing someone, of building a life with another person, of trusting that love could last. You could have given up, should have given up. Any sane person would have walked away. But you didn't. You showed up every single day, proving that consistency exists, that patience is real, that love can be both certain and gentle. You taught me that being vulnerable isn't weakness, it's strength. That needing someone doesn't make me less independent. It makes me brave enough to trust. So today I'm saying yes. Not reluctantly, not scared. Well, maybe still a little scared, but yes with my whole heart. Yes to you, yes to us. Yes to building a life together that's messy and imperfect, and absolutely worth the risk. You asked 70 times. I'm saying yes once. But Marco, I'll choose you every day after this. That's my vow. Every day. Every moment. Every choice. I choose you. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Marco, you may finally, after 71 days, kiss your bride. He did. Thoroughly. To applause and cheers and Nonna Rosa's loud, "Finally," that made everyone laugh. We walked back down the aisle together, married, and I felt it, the rightness. The certainty I'd been seeking for months. This was exactly where I was supposed to be. Exactly who I was supposed to be with. The reception was loud, warm, full of toasts and dancing and overwhelming joy. Giovanni gave a speech about patience being a family virtue. Sarah told embarrassing stories about my commitment phobia. Nonna Rosa cried and blessed us in Italian and made everyone promise to attend the first baby's christening. Because you two, you make beautiful babies. I see it, but my favorite moment came late in the evening. Marco pulled me onto the dance floor for what the DJ announced as the last dance. "How are you feeling, Mrs. DeLuca?" Strange, good strange. Like I did something terrifying and survived. You did better than survive. You're thriving. Look at you, married, happy, not running away. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with me too. And Marco, thank you. For what? For asking 70 times, for not giving up, for being patient while I figured out how to be brave, for loving me enough to wait. Elena, I'd have waited forever, but I'm very glad I didn't have to. He kissed me softly. We did it. We're married. You're my wife. I'm your husband. After all that fear and doubt and panic, we actually did it. We did. And Marco? I'm happy. Really genuinely happy. The fear is still there. Probably always will be. But it's smaller now. Manageable. Because you're here. And we're together. And that matters more than being scared. That's all I needed to hear. That you're happy. That this was worth it. It was. You were. We were. I rested my head on his chest. 71 days from first proposal to yes. 6 months from yes to married. Worth every second of fear and doubt. Because now I get this. Us. Forever. Forever, he agreed. Starting today. 1 year later, I came home from a long surgery to find Marco in the kitchen cooking dinner. A year of marriage, and the sight of him in our home still made my heart skip. How was your day, Dr. DeLuca? Long, complicated surgery, but successful. How was yours? Productive. Opened the new restaurant location. Everything went smoothly. And Elena, he turned from the stove, smiling. I have a question for you. My heart jumped. What kind of question? The kind I ask every day. He pulled out the familiar ring box. The one he'd carried for 70 days before I said yes. Elena DeLuca, will you stay married to me? I laughed. You're still asking. A year later? I told you I'd always ask. Different questions now, but same spirit. So, will you stay married to me? Choose me again today? Yes, obviously yes. Marco, you know the answer. I do. But I like asking anyway, like being reminded that you're choosing me, that you chose me a year ago and keep choosing me. He set down the box and pulled me close. 1 year married. How's it feel? Good. Better than good. Sometimes still scary, but mostly just right. Like this is where I belong. With you. Us. No regrets about saying yes? Not one. Well, maybe I regret taking 70 days to say it. Could have had an extra 70 days of this happiness. Those 70 days taught you to trust it. Taught us both that good things are worth waiting for. Worth fighting for. He kissed me softly. And Elena? I have something else to tell you. Been waiting for the right moment. What? The business, all of it, is finally fully legitimate. As of today, everything legal, everything clean. Like I promised, our future kids can be proud of what their father built. Kids? That's the second time you've mentioned kids lately. Because I've been thinking about it. About us. About the next chapter. And Elena, I want that chapter. Want to build a family with you. Want tiny humans with your eyes and stubbornness. Want the chaos and noise and mess. But only if you want it too. Only if you're ready. I thought about it. About everything we'd built in a year. About how the fear had quieted into background noise. About how marriage had made me bigger, not smaller. More myself, not less. I want it. Not immediately, but soon. Let's enjoy being married a bit longer. Then yes. Let's build a family. His smile was brilliant. Soon, I can work with soon. I'm very good at waiting for soon. You're very good at waiting in general. 70 days prove that. Best 70 days of my life. Because they led to this. To you, to us, to everything. He cupped my face gently. I love you, Elena. Today, tomorrow, always. Every single day, I choose you. I choose you too. Every day. Starting with the 71st day, when I finally got brave enough to say yes. Best yes I've ever heard. Best question you ever asked. We stood in our kitchen, married and happy and building something that would last. Because sometimes love is patient. Sometimes it asks 70 times. Sometimes it waits for fear to quiet into courage. And sometimes, the best love stories are the ones where someone refuses to give up. Refuses to stop asking, stop trying, stop believing that yes is possible. Marco asked 70 times. I said yes once, and we spent every day after choosing each other, again and again and again, forever.